This is a CBC podcast.
Hey Canada, we're giving it a go in O-Town. From Ottawa, it's the Debaters! The Debaters, where comedians fight with facts and funny, and this audience picks the winner. Now here's a man who always deserves a standing O, Steve Patterson.
Hey! Hello, Canada! Welcome back to the Debaters. We are back in Ottawa. Yeah. Yes, Ottawa, home to the Great Canadian Kilt Skate. The Kilt Skate is an event where people voluntarily put on kilts and go skating outside in Ottawa. It's equal parts Robbie Burns and Freezer Burns. And since a lot of skaters wear their kilts the traditional way, it's not what I'd call a spectator sport. Matter of fact, it's lucky for the fish under the ice, their eyes are on the sides of their heads, so they can't look straight up. Anyway, are you guys ready to meet a pair of debaters who always put on a spectacle? Let's do it! We always like to welcome this guy back, Seguin. It's Derek Seguin! Derek Seguin, there he is, a hero's welcome for the little boy from Brassard. And in Britain, her name is Truck Elliott. It's Laurie Elliott. Laurie Elliott, known as Truck Elliott in England. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Debaters, your topic is a good one for here in Ottawa. Poutine. Is it Canada's national food? Now, Ottawa is home to an annual beer and poutine festival, which is like the Woodstock of food festivals. Except instead of the Grateful Dead and CCR, you'll be grateful you're alive after you get CPR. You know, they say that if you can remember Poutine Fest, you weren't really there. But enough about that grooviness, it's time to talk graviness. So, whereas it is delicious, rich, and uniquely Canadian, be it resolved that poutine holds the title of Canada's national food. Laurie, you are arguing for this. You have 2 minutes, starting now.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, poutine is Canada's national dish, all right? Our country celebrates Poutine Day, Poutine Week, poutine eating contests. There's even a poutine-based amusement park, probably somewhere. And why is it deserving of this honor? Well, for many reasons. One, it's curative. That's right. After an epic night of drinking, just one bowl of poutine will cure you of your hangover. Try that, salad. Stupid salad. It's also got the three most important food groups: crispy fries, gravy, cheese curds. And they've got to be fresh cheese curds. They've got to squeak when you eat them. In fact, they have to pass the squeaky mattress test. Do you know what the squeaky mattress test is, Steve?
No, Laurie.
I didn't think so. I'll tell you what it is, though. I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll tell you. It's when the tester is blindfolded and has to guess whether a couple is making love in front of them on a squeaky mattress or someone is scarfing down a bowl of poutine with fresh curds. It's true. It's true. The smell is the same. It's true. Smell is the same. And if that tester can't tell which is which, then Oh Canada is the real deal. The biggest argument, though, for poutine being Canada's national dish is because not only is it embraced countrywide, but people from around the world, nay, the universe know about it. In fact, whenever my in-laws visit from the moon, the first thing they say isn't, "Hi, Laurie, how's the surgery go? Glad you're gonna live." No, it's, "Take me to your poutine." Thank you.
Laurie Elliott. Laurie Elliott believes poutine should be Canada's national dish. Thank you, Laurie. Now,
Thank you.
To tell us why the national food being poutine is obscene, it's the always saucy Derek Seguin.
All right. Thank you, and good evening, Ottawa, you wonderful little city that's nestled in my home province in your little capital bosom. I just want you to know that the things I'm about to say about the rest of Canada do not necessarily apply to you. You are a wonderful bilingual city that's gonna pass, because unlike city like where Laurie is from, like Toronto, or even where Steve is from, like London, or the debaters come from Vancouver, all these cities suck compared to us. No. And what's worse is that they can't say the word. If you want it to be your national food, you should be able to say poutine. It is not poutine, Laurie. It's poutine. If you can't say it, that's sick. You can't have it as your food. Poutine is the national food of Quebec. That's right, national. So it's our national food. And I'm not saying for sure that Quebec should separate from Canada, or I'm not a separatist or anything like that. But listen, if we were to separate, hey, as sick, we're taking our poutine with us. Good luck making a respectable poutine without Quebec cheese. Maybe if you get some sexy fashion sense. I don't know why I wrote that part. Wait a minute. Listen, just come visit, deguste, and enjoy the food, and then go home and stop it. It's ours. Ten zolta, wet. Get out. Thank you.
Derek Seguin, who is against poutine being the national food. Now, time for the bare knuckle round. Here's some fast food for thought. Is poutine or poutine, but not poutine, Canada's national food? Let's delicacy what you've got as you side dish it out and try to French fry your opponent. Time to go potato to toe and give it your Montreal. Just don't francophone it in. Or one of you can.
That's all I got.
Try to come up with something that never occurred to your opponent. And well, the rest is just gravy.
Listen, we like it when you like our things. We like it. But like just the way you talk about it, you don't know how to do it right. It's not gravy, it's sauce. It's like the cousin of the poutine, it's frit sauce, not frit gravy. Frit sauce. If you're lactose intolerant, you have frit sauce. It's just you guys take it, oh, it's our national food, and now we're going to put coleslaw in it. And maybe I saw a guy in Calgary put ketchup on the poutine. I punched him in the face. Poutine need ketchup. Your poutine is wrong. Something's wrong with your poutine.
Here's a fun fact. I am from Quebec. I was born in Quebec. I moved to Ontario when I was younger. And when we moved to Ontario... When we moved to Ontario... No! When we moved to Ontario, a stranger...
You are to Quebec what shredded cheese is to Toronto poutine.
How dare you?
Laurie, we're going to let you have the last word here.
You
deserve to respond to that.
When we moved to Ontario, a stranger gave me a recipe with 3 ingredients. And on it were gravy, crispy fries, and cheese curds. And this stranger said, take this and tell the rest. Tell the world. And that stranger was Celine Dion.
That's the bare knuckle round. That's a nice story.
It's a true story. It's a true story.
Celine Dion looks like she eats a lot of poutine.
It is time now for the firing line.
Oh, God.
In my hand, I have a list of questions on it, being the national dish, poutine that is, brought to you by maple syrup. Huh? Maple syrup. I come from the same tree as the symbol on the Canadian flag. So poutine, you can go to hell. Actress and wellness guru Gwyneth Paltrow told a Montreal newspaper she eats poutine. How? Derek?
Vaginally. Read the book. She have a whole bunch of advice.
Lori?
This is not an answer, but a statement.
Okay.
I can do that too.
Okay. All right. Gwyneth Paltrow told a Montreal newspaper she eats poutine in her dreams. In 2007, poutine took 10th place on CBC's list of greatest Canadian inventions. What took the number one spot?
Oh, I know this.
Lori.
I know this one, and it's 5-pin bowling, which is the poutine of sports.
May well be.
Incorrect. I loved the confidence, though. Derek.
I think it's the egg carton. The egg carton was a Canadian invention. And how the hell else are you going to carry eggs around? Ask Gwyneth Paltrow. She'll tell you.
Only 6, though. Never a full dozen. Lori?
I can do that too.
I've lost all control of this.
I get in a lot of trouble at the airport. They're always pulling me
Poutine
over.
took 10th place on CBC's list of greatest Canadian inventions in 2007. You know what took the number one spot? Insulin. Insulin, which is a good one if you think about it. That's the firing line, everybody. We're racing towards the home stretch, trying to decide whether poutine should be Canada's national dish, and it's almost time for our beautiful Ottawa theater audience to pick a winner. But first, here again to tell us when it comes to the national dish, he says to poutine, "You wish." It's the always classy, sometimes cheesy, Derek Seguin.
Canada doesn't need a national food. There's no food that's known as Canadian except for food from Quebec. Smoked meat, smee, maple syrup, poutine, pea soup. The rest of Canada, you just have food. You just have food. And when you take our food, you mess it up. Just let us make famous food and leave it Quebecois. You don't see Quebecois people going to Toronto and saying, "Oh, their national giant stick in the middle of a city with so many uses." You keep your Toronto things, we'll keep our Quebecois things, and we'll all live in harmony as we've always done throughout history. Thank you.
Derek Seguin, bringing it all together at the end in a beautiful, heartfelt message. Thank you, Derek. Now, here again to tell us that fries, gravy, and cheese is the national dish, if you please. It's our own gourmet foodie, Lori Elliott.
Thank you. Okay. So basically, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. And speaking of which, my cover band, the Pooh Fighters, will be playing in my parents' garage tonight. And did you also know that the word poutine is actually an acronym? I'll spell it out for you. P stands for provinces. All of them. O stands for Ottawa. Our nation's capital agrees with me. U stands for us, because poutine is for all of us. T, and the territories too. Then we've got I. I once found an eyeball in my poutine. Then we've got N for no, I didn't eat it. And finally E, as in Elliot for the win. I'm Lori Elliott.
Lori Elliott with a lovely closing argument on why poutine should be our national dish. A lot of thought went into that acronym. Well delivered.
Thank you.
It is up to you. By applause, who thinks that Lori's pro-poutine points prevailed in this debate? Lori Elliott. A lot of support for the effervescent Lori Elliott. And who thinks Derek's anti-poutine punchlines packed the most punch? Derek Singer. The audience has spoken. The winner is Derek Singer. Poutine should not be Canada's national dish. Big hand for Derek Singer and Lori Elliott, everybody.
Hey, Debaters fans, we have a podcast. Subscribe today to have episodes and bonus content sent straight to your device. Go to cbc.ca/thedebaters for more. And now, back to Steve Patterson.
Are you ready to meet your next pair of debaters? Let's bring them out here. This comic believes a picture of salad dressing is worth 1,000 islands. It's Ron Sparks. Ron Sparks. Making his way to the lectern to my right. He looks ready. And this comic thinks when it comes to the internet, bloggers can't be choosers. It's David Pride. David Pride, well dressed as ever, always looking smart, and then sounding smart. Your topic is jury duty. Should you try to avoid it? I've always thought Canada should have its own televised courtroom show with the Honorable Red Green presiding. Unfortunately, Canada doesn't allow cameras in the courtroom, so the show would have to be hundreds and hundreds of courtroom sketches turned into a very dramatic flip book, which, in my opinion, would still be better TV than watching poker. Now, on to a topic that will make you all flip out. Whereas it costs citizens time, money, and can be terribly dull, be it resolved that jury duty stinks and should be avoided. David, you're arguing for this, please. You have 2 minutes, starting now.
Jury, a body of people sworn to give a verdict based on evidence presented. Duty, slang for dog feces. Put them together and you've got jury duty, a total steaming waste. Jurors are the least respected cog in the justice machine. Watch any Law and Order episode, and you'll see, at least at some point, a crusty district attorney desperate to cut a deal because juries are too stupid to trust to do the right thing. They'll cut to the DA's office, tong-tong, and the assistant will be arguing, Adam, we can convict on the basis of intent. Huh. Intent. The average juror thinks intent refers to the place you sleep when you go camping. Cut a deal. Yeah. Well, and you're always asked as a juror, you're asked to disregard things. Is that like just the jury will disregard that outburst? No, you can't do. If I'm up here and I announce to you that beaver tails are fried in a batter of senator's crotch sweat, yeah, you can't just disregard that if I tell you to, especially an Ottawa crowd, because you're wondering which type of senator. No, overall, jury duty, it's like volunteering to be a Little League umpire. You get no money, no respect, and you're one bad call from some angry parents trying to make a federal case out of it. So, thank you very much.
David Pride, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, David. Now, to tell us that it should be called jury privilege because it's so enjoyable, here's the always judicious Ron Sparks.
Thank you. What is not to love about jury duty? Did you know you actually get paid money for it? Good money, too. It pays higher than minimum wage, even. As a Canadian comedian, that is a lot more than I make now. There's tons of perks, too, like free meals. You even get options. You could have soup. You could have a sandwich. You can have soup or a sandwich. Plus, your boss at your day job is legally required to still pay you. It is literally like a paid vacation. A paid vacation that can continue as long as you want. Just make sure you vote the opposite way of the other jurors. And the best part of this paid vacation is no one can blame you for going on it because you've been sequestered. That's basically a fancy way of saying armed guards will prevent anyone you know from bothering you. Need a break from your kids? There is no better option than jury duty. Wife wants to visit your mother-in-law? Sorry, honey, I can't make it this weekend, but it's not my fault. I have a civic duty. You see, jury duty, it shouldn't even be called jury duty. It should be called jury fun. Because real jury duty isn't like a boring John Grisham novel. No, it's 100 times more fun than a John Grisham novel, and it takes 1,000 times less effort and time to get through. Thank you.
Ron Sparks, revealing a side of him I've never seen. It's time now for the firing line. In my hand, I have a list of questions on jury duty, brought to you by the upcoming sequel to the 1957 American film classic 12 Angry Men, tentatively titled 12 Even Angrier Women. Noisemakers ready, please? Under what circumstances can a juror in Ontario earn $100 per day? David.
As an extra on Street Legal.
It's a good answer. And it's nice cross-promotion. It's coming to CBC sometime, or maybe it's already on. Ron?
Yeah, if you lean towards the defendant's table and you say, psst, you'd look way more innocent if I had $100 for not guilty glasses.
1.5 points from the audience for that answer. In Ontario, you get paid $100 per day if the trial lasts longer than 50 days. So now some of you are thinking this through. According to the Government of BC website, reasons to be exempt from jury duty include health issues, full-time studies, or if you're limited in your capacity to do what? Ron.
Hold in your fart, Steve.
Some of you were trying to not react to that, but you couldn't help yourselves. 2 points, Ron. David?
Recognize the man bun as a crime.
1.5 points. No, if you're limited in your capacity to speak English, you may be exempt from jury duty in BC. Every other province, we're okay. That's the firing line. Just about time for this lovely Meridian Theatre audience to vote, but first, here again to tell us, when it comes to jury duty, he prefers to think inside the box. It's the won't be overruled again, Ron Sparks.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Ottawa. Everyone, please forget everything I have said up to now. Because a lot of what I say is just plumb crazy, Steve. And there's really only one argument you need to remember when you decide whether to say yes to jury duty, and that is this. If you don't do it, someone else will. And that someone else might be me. And a lot of what I say is just plumb crazy, Steve. Would you really rather let me decide who should be free to roam your neighborhood? I say no. I say I'm an idiot. And that's why jury duty's important. And that's why better people than me, good people like you, should be doing it. Thank you.
Ron Sparks. Ron Sparks with a very, very convincing argument. I do agree that you're an idiot. Now, to tell us if getting out of jury duty is a crime, then lock him up. It's the lawful David Pride.
Being in a debater's audience is fun because you all want to be here. In jury duty, you're not even allowed to have prior knowledge of what you're about to see. If this was jury duty, none of you ideally would have any idea what the Debaters is. You'd be blind to the existence of the CBC and probably all federal employees in general. Basically, you'd be the Phoenix payment system. And that's another thing, too. Real juries don't get to do it by applause. Can you imagine if a jury got to vote by applause? Just place yourself in the room right now, Judge Patterson presiding, as he sets up your final instructions. He's like, it's now time for this jury to decide the fate of Charles Manson. By applause, who thinks the defense case supplied saying these homicides should slide cannot be denied? And who felt their helter-skelter made your blood swelter, and do you need shelter? I think you just acquitted Charles Manson. All I'm saying is that if you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, clap back against jury duty. Thank you.
David Pride. Pretty darn convincing argument on why jury duty is awful. Ron Sparks says the opposite. Let's see how the audience decides. Who thinks that David avoiding jury duty is a beauty here? David Pride. Whoa! Wow! Thunderous applause for Dave Pride. And who thinks Ron's pro-jury duty points won this trial? Ron Sparks. It is very close. It is very close, but I think the Phoenix payment system put him over the edge. The winner is David Pride. Down with jury duty. Big hand for David Pride and Ron Sparks, everybody. Well, that's all for this week. I'm Steve Patterson saying thanks to our live audience here for acting as judge and jury, which makes me wonder why I'm here. I'll argue with you again soon, Canada. Good night.
The Debaters, created by Richard Side. Produced this week by Graham Clark, Nicole Callender, Katie Ellen Humphreys, and Josh Bailey. Technical production by Jean-Sébastien Villeneuve and Conrad Hijazi. Executive producer of CBC Radio Comedy is Tracy Rideout. And thanks to everyone at the Meridian Theatres at Centrepoint in Ottawa. Hey Debaters fans in British Columbia, we're coming to the Sagebrush Theatre in Kamloops on November 12th. For details, visit cbc.ca/thedebaters.
For more CBC podcasts, go to cbc.ca/podcasts.